Absolute Superman is an absolute beast. Let's talk about it. So unless you guys have been living underneath a rock, you understand that the Absolute universe is the answer to the Ultimate universe in Marvel. But one of the things I'm absolutely loving about this, no pun intended, is that it's giving us a refresh on age-old characters. And I'm loving what they're doing with Superman so far for a number of different reasons. Absolute Superman is basically Zack Snyder's biggest dream. Zack Snyder took Superman's character and he dirtied him up a little bit, but this is taking Superman and completely throwing him into the mud. There are three things that I'm loving about issue 1. 1 is how they represent Krypton, 2 is Superman's backstory, and 3 is his attitude towards humanity. One of the things I've always had a problem with was the idea of Krypton as a whole. And what I mean by that is Krypton has always been shown to us as it's kind of like utopian-like society where nothing bad ever happens. And in my personal opinion, it made Krypton feel a little bit too unrelatable and a little bit too polished. Kind of the same way how I feel about the Viltrumites without all the violence. In this society, there's no poverty, no crime, no classism, no nothing. At least how it's been told in the traditional sense. But what the Absolute universe does is it takes Krypton and it dirties it up, making it feel more human and more realistic. They deal with classism, governmental corruption, and the same regular things that us everyday humans have to go through. Also, in this story, Superman is not a baby when Krypton is destroyed. At least that's what I'm gathering from issue 1. I'm sorry guys, I'm not fully caught up yet. I've been trying to get things together for my reaction channel and just things have been crazy. But from what I'm seeing in red, that seems like the direction that they're gonna go into, and if so, I love this. Because if that's the case, it's gonna give Superman that Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne type of backstory where loss fuels his desire to want to be a superhero. Even though Superman's parents were killed during the destruction of Krypton, they're not really his main motivation to want to be a superhero. They are a guiding light for him because they teach him about Krypton's history as well as other things of his heritage. But if we're really gonna be honest, Jonathan and Martha Kent are actually Superman's real parents. So the whole I'm losing my parents right in front of my very eyes trope isn't alive within Superman, mainly because they had no part in raising him. So what this shift and change does, it gives him a more solid relationship with Krypton because he was actually raised there for a short period of time. And it also gives him a race to be able to compare humanity to. Superman has never felt like an alien the way Omni-Man has because Superman was raised on planet Earth. In a sense, at his core, he's just a regular guy from Kansas, you know, aside from all the godlike powers. And in this book, he doesn't feel like the symbol of peace or this godlike character that humanity looks up to in times of need. In a way, this is the Batman version of Superman, the vigilante version that takes it to the streets no matter what the upper law or authority says. Because I don't know if you guys have ever read Frank Miller's Batman. If not, you should definitely check that out. The Dark Knight Returns is hands down one of the best Batman series ever written. But the main reason I bring that up is because of Superman's relationship with the government within that series, to where he doesn't operate outside the lines like Batman. In a sense, that's how Superman actually is in most of his variations. Not calling him a puppet of the government, but simply saying that if they have an objection, he will take that into consideration. While as we all know, Batman lives by his own moral code, and if he wants to go somewhere, he's going no matter what anybody says. But Absolute Superman's attitude towards the way he fights crime is heavily influenced by this universe's Krypton. Because in this universe's Krypton, Jor-El was not a world-renowned scientist. He was an everyday working class man that got taken advantage of by the government. And the same thing was said about Superman's mother, who was ostracized by Kryptonian society based on how she felt about the government. So the way his family was treated really bleeds into how he fights crime. One of the other things that I love about this series is the fact that they gave Superman a more practical weakness. And I can already hear people talking about kryptonite. Look, unless you're Batman or Lex Luthor, Superman is pretty much invincible. They made him similar to Martian Manhunter, and in a sense, he's this godlike being, but he has a very, very practical weakness. Because anybody can start a fire, but not everybody has kryptonite. And his weakness being that he has to actively recharge his solar radiation. So in the regular Superman mythos, Superman has a passive ability like a plant to where he's always absorbing solar radiation. As long as he's out and about and exposed to the sun, he's like a solar generator. He's constantly grabbing that energy and using it to fuel his power. But Absolute Superman is more like Black Lightning in a way to where he has to be around a source of energy and actively recharge his cells. And it does seem like this version of Superman's cells are depleted a lot faster. But I am super excited to see what they do in issue 2. I will be fully caught up on this series in about a week or so. And I will be doing follow-up videos to let you guys know what I think about the series thus far. And once again, I am so sorry for my long absence. I've been trying to get all this stuff ready for my reaction channel dropping pretty soon. But I'm always working real hard to bring you guys some good content. So until next time, my fellow Kryptonians, peace.